everybody. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Kathy Hester. We're doing part 2. My dog is saying hello. He's saying that one treat was not enough for him to be quiet. So I'm going to see if I let him out from where he is. I think he's just going to come closer and whine, but then at least you guys get to see him. You can see Max be a bad puppy. Or he'll be over here and he'll be quiet. So anyhow, no. So what we did earlier today, so this is part 2 of making slow cooker sweet potato dal. And so I'll be writing down the recipe later and kind of putting it up. So just like yesterday when we made the lentil delicata squash soup, right? I'm just making these up. This one I used kind of a recipe off of the revised vegan slow cooker, but it's in the original vegan slow cooker 2 as in also, should you like to peruse it. So what I did in the beginning, and you guys have it on Facebook, you can go back and watch it, it's that I used some water, some white fingerling sweet potatoes, and I used 3 kinds of lentils. I used a red lentil, I used mung dal, and I can't even remember the other one I used right now. So I will have to watch the video again before I write the recipe down. Maxie, do you want to say hi? Come here, come over here. I'm wearing, come on. Now Cheryl's coming home too. There's Maxie. Let's let everybody see who's making all that noise. Go say hi. Okay. So since Cheryl's coming home, there's going to be a whole other commotion. I know for slow cooking, that's quick. So what I did is I cooked it on high for 4 hours instead of low all day, because I was going to be doing this video in the morning as far as I thought, and I was wrong. It's been one of those days. That's another reason why I want to show you some of the slow cooker recipes. But before we get there, look at this tiny, tiny little squash I got in my Misfit Market. It's so cute. I had to let you see it. Okay, so let's unveil this so you can kind of see what's in here right now. I know. Yeah, everybody can hear Max. Ooh, it looks like we need some more water. Possibly. But let's see. Some of this is going to mash up. So this would be a nice thick dal. So some people like their dal this thick and some people like it thinner. So and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure these sweet potatoes are cooked through, and they are. And you can tell just because the red lentils and some of the lentils have already melted into everything. So I'm going to add a little bit more water, just because, probably a half a cup to a cup. Because I'm also going to add in some kale. I want to add in some greens. So I want to have a little place for those to be and cook. And I'm going to take my little ghostie away. A video student of mine is using a 3D printer. It's not the cutest thing ever, and she sent it to me. And she does cookies and things, which is kind of awesome. I can't wait to see her classes start to come up. Okay, so I'm just stirring this. And just like yesterday, so I've got a whole bunch of kale torn up here. And at this point, I probably put a half a cup of liquid in here. If you don't use salt, you don't have to use it. I'm probably going to use a little salt. First, let me taste this and just get an idea of the general flavors. So one of the reasons I'm doing these 2 parts is that I want you to see that once you throw everything in the slow cooker in the morning, it's not a done deal, right? When you open it up before you serve, there's all this other gray area for you to turn it into an okay dinner to an amazing dinner. Okay, that's pretty good. For Cheryl, I cannot put any more cayenne pepper in there. I may be able to put just a little bit more. So I'm going to put like a 1/16 of a teaspoon, because if you have someone who doesn't like spicy food, make sure that you make it mild, and then you can spice it up a little more. And see, I even put all the spices that I used in this recipe here, because whenever I do a slow cooker recipe, I leave them here so that I can adjust later. It's important. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of garlic in there. I'm also going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. So this is in addition to whatever we put in there this morning. So I want to taste that and then see where I need to go from there. Ah, and Kathy is saying, who is Max? Max is my puppy. He is a hound pit mix who's a little bit neurotic. I think you might have heard my cat yell. She's ready for dinner. It's dinner time at the Hester household. If I can get Max to come back around, I will. I got him to kind of just show his behind. He's not good at looking at the camera. But I gave him one treat and he was not happy. He wanted another treat. And he is diabolical and will keep on getting treats until there's no more treats. So, okay. So, yep, that's better. So I don't want it to be like real bitey with the onion and the garlic powder, but I just want a little more flavor from it. I think also I'm going to do just another pinch of mustard powder. And you've got to be really careful with the mustard powder. It overpowers very quickly. So, I mean, I'm doing really just a tiny bit. Are you trying to get Max to show? Why don't you go over there and just hand him a treat so everybody can see Max. Go back. You can look right here and you can see. Come on. Look. Here. Oh, can you turn around? Maxie, turn around, look. You sort of got a little look at Max. I'll see if Cheryl can do any more of that. Okay, and the main thing I want you to see is the main portion of this morning was super easy to do, super low maintenance. And what we're doing is changing it from boring slow cooker, oh, everything tastes the same, by adding and reseasoning. And it's going to be different. Different days could be different. Maybe I got some new mustard powder and now I need it to be stronger or less strong, or maybe my garam masala isn't as potent as it used to be. Oh, thank you. Joanne likes my Van Gogh Munsters t-shirt. Ooh, like the little extra. You don't want the mustard to burn, but a lot of times Indian food is cooked in mustard oil and has some mustard seeds in it, and that really gives it a yummy flavor. I'm going to put a little more garam masala in here, and if you're not sure, you can smell the food and smell the spice, and it'll tell you if it would go or not. So I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of garam masala back in there. I think I am also going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cumin. And why not? Let's don't leave out turmeric. Let's just go ahead and add another 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. Let's see how all that plays out. Okay. So we're just stirring this in. And also, if you do salt at this point, you can put in salt. Or if you don't use salt and you're still missing a bite, because I'm going to add a little salt to mine, what you can do is add some extra garlic and onion powder, and then add some ground celery seed. Just a little bit to mimic the salt. You don't want it really to taste like celery, but it does add kind of a celery sort of, a salty sort of feel in your mouth. So I'm going to taste this. Yep. So it went from here to here just by reseasoning. And I want you to really understand that that's the difference between I love my slow cooker and my husband won't eat anything I make in the slow cooker because he says it all tastes the same. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and put some salt in here. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of salt. And then I may add a little more water. And I'm going to put in the kale. You could put in any greens. You could use Swiss chard. You could use spinach. You could use really just about anything. Okay. Let's let you see that from the top a little bit. Okay. And I'm just going to put, this is probably a quarter to a third a cup of water. And again, it's because I'm thinning it down. If it was perfect for you, you don't need to add any water. I want it to be just a little thinner because I want some of my kale friends to join in. And I'm even going to make this a little bit smaller. And here's the thing, this is a lot of dal, right? And this would work in either a 4-quart slow cooker or a 6-quart slow cooker. You could have it, as in make half a batch, and put it in a 2-quart or a 1.5-quart slow cooker. Okay. And that's not going to be all I'm going to put in there, but I usually put greens in maybe 10 to 15 minutes before serving, and they'll cook really well even then. You don't want them all the nutrition cooked out of it, or maybe you do. And if you like it that way, I don't judge. Okay. Some of these I was able to get smaller than others. This is probably about 3 to 4 cups. That's kind of my, if you're watching for a few days in a row where I do this, that's kind of my general rule of thumb, because it really kind of cooks down, right? So while it may seem like this is too much right now, it's not going to once it cooks down. And if it becomes too thick, I can again add a little more water to it. The kale will add a tiny bit of liquid, but not that much. Okay, so a lot of times what I'll do is just put it, if it's been on low, then I will put it on high, right? And just let this part cook while I'm finishing the rest of the meal. But, I mean, actually, it looks pretty good even now without it really cooked down very much. So I'm really pretty happy with it. So I'm going to put this lid back on. I'm going to turn the temperature to high. And then I'm going to set it aside for a second. Oh, yeah, and Joanne's saying, could I make it in the Instant Pot? Yes, you can. So to make this in the Instant Pot, you just put everything in the Instant Pot. I think for split peas, I would say 10 to 15 minutes high pressure, and you could do either a natural pressure release or a manual pressure release. It wouldn't really matter because we're wanting this to be very creamy, so it doesn't matter if you overcook the beans a little bit, in my opinion. Then when you open it, I would just turn it to saute, re-season, and put the kale or green in of your choice. So yeah, it goes either way. The thing is that I really tend to do demos in the Instant Pot because they make more sense live. But I also really still love using my slow cooker because Cheryl and I were getting to dinner and it was just like, well, what do we do? And I wasn't feeling like I had enough energy to go ahead and cut everything up and get everything together for the Instant Pot. So sometimes I find if you have your energy in the morning, it's nice to go ahead and put your dinner in the slow cooker and then it's done. It's already planned. There's no, oh, should we go out? Oh, what can we pull out of the freezer? It's just, it's here. Also, as soon as I got off of the video earlier today, I went ahead and started some timed rice. So the rice is ready now too. I think you may have heard the beep go off when it was ready. So that's all good to go. And you could do that kind of timer in your Instant Pot too. So we could have put the beans, and I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear the hot rods revving it up outside, but it annoys me. So I apologize for my annoyed face. It is not at you. So in the Instant Pot, I could throw in the potatoes, I could throw in the water, the spices, and the lentils, and I could have gone ahead and set it to start cooking at a certain time, several hours later. So you could do that. So if you were gone most of the day, now what you can't do that with, it would be fine with the potatoes. But if you have something delicate that could go bad if it was not refrigerated or left at room temperature, that's when you don't want to set your timer on your Instant Pot. Same thing with slow cooker. That's why you can cook it for X amount of time and then you could switch it to warm. But you can't say, hey, I want you to start cooking 6 hours from now, because if you had anything perishable, you're going to get sick. That's why. Yeah, and the morning person versus the night person to me says sometimes who should do slow cooking and who should do Instant Potting, or like me, what days you do what. It's fine to do both, right? There's no reason that you can't have a slow cooker and have your Instant Pot. You can slow cook in your Instant Pot. I don't typically recommend that you do any kind of beans in there. Lentils, you can, especially split lentils, you can kind of get away with. Vegetable stews, and I am only talking about on the slow cooker setting in your Instant Pot. Beans in your Instant Pot is brilliant. I just think you should use the pressure cooker function. That's all. So, and I wanted to show you a couple more things real quick before I head off. In a class we did, which was like Instant Pot Indian stews, we made like some saag or like a nice greens dish and things like that. But sometimes I'll use Tasty Bites. And what's kind of cool about Tasty Bites, and let you see these from above. And yes, that is my Halloween bowls that we're going to eat everything out of. A couple of cool things is you'll notice if they are vegan. A lot of them are vegetarian, so make sure to look for that. They're also non-GMO. Now here's where they could become problematic. One of the things I like is that they're very low calorie. So this whole pouch is 200 calories. This whole patch is 220 calories. And it's got mostly pretty good things in here. So like the eggplant, onions, bottle gourd squash, tomatoes, but there is sunflower oil, garlic, there's salt, and spices. But there's not really anything bad. Now, bad is obviously subjective. Same thing over here, water, mushrooms, potatoes, onions, crushed tomatoes, oil, garlic, chickpea, flour, which if you're sophist, that might be okay with you, sugar, salt. So there's a few things in here. So if you are eating purely whole food plant-based, no oil, or sophist, these don't fall into what you can eat. If you're in a different place, and we typically don't cook with oil, but I do allow us to have these every now and again. So what we're going to do is use that dal and make it into super fancy Indian dinner by adding an eggplant dish and a mushroom dish that I didn't cook. If you are whole food plant-based or sophist, what you can do is spend a day, even if it's once a month or once every other month, make a few Instant Pot Indian dishes and freeze them, because all these freeze really well too. Then I would just go to the freezer, pull one of those out, and it would go with this. So it's really, really quite easy. Do you guys have any questions at all? Because if not, I'm going to go eat dinner. And if you have some slow cooker questions or anything like that, let me know. Also, don't forget, there's going to be some classes coming up this month. I've got 2 Instant Pot classes coming up with Kathy's Cooking Club and 2 Halloween classes coming up with Chibo. So leave me a message if you have any questions about those, and I'll get all the answers to you. So I hope you're enjoying your dinner as much as we are.